Eyewitnesses say the firing continued for 20 to 30 minutes. The shooting had stopped, but the panic and the fear and the pain continued as the authorities began their investigation to figure out why the gunman went on his rampage and what circumstances led to the massacre in Killeen, Texas. Morton Dean, ABC News.
It just happens every so often, too often, of course, and when it does, there is debate about guns and about gun control. At the McDonald's in San Ysidro, California in 1984, where 21 people were killed, there was debate, but no national legislation. More than a dozen people were killed in an Edmond, Oklahoma post office in 1986. The gunman could have bought his gun from any store in the state, virtually no questions asked. When 5 school children were killed by a drifter in Stockton, California in 1989, California passed a law which banned semi-automatic assault rifles. President Bush supported a national regulation to ban such weapons if they were imported. Every state in the Union has legislation intended to keep weapons out of the hands of criminals. But sometimes a person only becomes a criminal for the first time, when they kill. Just one other note on this subject. Tomorrow, the House of Representatives will vote on a crime bill that would ban a fairly wide selection of semi-automatic assault weapons, those most commonly identified with combat. The ban would not include the type of semi-automatic handgun used in today's murder, but if there is no hitch tomorrow, it would ban ammunition clips that hold large numbers of bullets. In a moment, the other news. Syria says yes to the U.S. peace plan for the Middle East. The President and the Senate stake out their positions on how the confirmation process should work. And an ABC News investigation tonight, did an official in the Philippine government plot to kill a political opponent?
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by the Discover Car.
Every time it rains, pennies from heaven.
Just a reminder, the Discover card pays a cashback bonus on every penny you charge.
Pennies from heaven.
I hear some poor sap named Al bought a Toyota Celica All-Track, then found out this Eagle Talon cost almost $5,000 less.
Look, I don't want to talk about it, okay?
Al?
By day, I race an Eagle Talon, but by night, I'm practicing to be a great opera singer.
Oh, what do your fans say to that?
Don't quit your day job.
In the Middle East today, an important development in the Bush administration's efforts to get Israel and its Arab neighbors to sit down and talk peace after spending 2 days trying to convince Syria's President Hafez al-Assad to go along with the Bush plan. Secretary of State Baker has been given the answer he was looking for. ABC's John McCarthy is also in the Middle East.
After 12 hours of tough negotiations, Secretary Baker came away with an unequivocal pledge from Syrian President Assad that Syria will attend a peace conference and later will sit down and negotiate with Israel one-on-one.
It's my view that we are still on course to hold a peace conference in this month of October.
This by no means indicates that peace is at hand between Syria and Israel, as was vividly evident when Syrian Foreign Minister Shara was asked if he would shake hands with Israeli Foreign Minister Levy at the peace conference.
I would tell you frankly no, simply because this very hand is guilty, because it's a hand which occupies our lands.
And until Israel agrees to give back the Golan Heights, Syria said it will not attend a later phase of peace talks to deal with such regional problems as water, refugees, and arms control. Even so, Baker was delighted with progress thus far as he arrived in Israel, the stop that could make or break his drive to hold a peace conference. Baker was greeted by news that a new Jewish settlement in Arab East Jerusalem was established tonight. As he drove to his first meeting, thousands of right-wing demonstrators, most of them Jewish settlers from the occupied territories, made it clear they want him to fail.
This is not a conference meant to bring peace. This is a conference meant to bring Israel to its knees.
Inside, Palestinians from the West Bank and Gaza told Baker that the PLO has still not decided which Palestinians will go to a peace conference as part of Jordan's delegation. That will not be welcome news for Prime Minister Shamir, who had hoped to get the list in the morning when he meets with Baker. Shamir said today that there are still circumstances that could cause Israel not to attend a peace conference. An unacceptable Palestinian name on that list is one of them. John McWethy, ABC News, Jerusalem.
If the peace conference does go ahead this month, the White House says it is possible that both President Bush and President Gorbachev will be there for the opening session. In Washington today, a presidential appointment that should not create anything like the bitterness that the Thomas nomination generated. Mr. Bush has nominated the acting Attorney General, William Barr, to succeed Dick Thornburg as the head of the Justice Department. Mr. Barr is a career government lawyer who has been running the department since Mr. Thornburg left to run for political office in August. All across Washington today, politicians were applying tourniquets after one of the nastiest confirmation fights ever, and trying to decide if they really have the stomach for another battle over the whole messy process of confirmation. Here's ABC's Jim Wooten.
First thing this morning, the president was talking about the process that almost cost him a Supreme Court nominee.
The present process is simply not fair.
But first thing this morning, Democratic Senator Sam Nunn was talking about the way his Armed Services Committee handles hundreds of civilian nominations and military promotions every year.
And we have a number of nominations that were stopped, that did not go forward because of misconduct, including sexual misconduct by military officers and by others.
And nobody knew anything about it because the process was secret. Nobody leaked and nobody gave out any private information. Senator Nunn is skeptical of the current cries for unspecified changes from the president, from Clarence Thomas, or anybody else.
Like Midas, Mr. President, we must be careful what we wish for, particularly when we wish for those things that shine brightly, for we may be unfortunate enough to see our wishes come true. This is what has happened in the Senate in the last week.
His fellow Democrat, Senator Byrd, likes the process just the way it is. It served the country and Judge Thomas very well, he says.
And it is because of the process that Judge Thomas was given his day to clear his name.
Stephen Hess, a scholar at the Brookings Institution, thinks all this talk about changing the process will soon go away.
This is a Senate, 100 politicians. Tomorrow there's another vote, there's another configuration. Orrin Hatch needs Ted Kennedy, Ted Kennedy needs Orrin Hatch. They make their peace, they talk about their distinguished brethren again, and life goes on in this city.
That's probably true, because what they're really talking about is the committee's failure to take Professor Hill's charges seriously in the first place, and the leak that finally brought them to public view. Although the Senate seems serious now about finding out who leaked this time, nobody's very certain they can prevent a similar leak the next time. Jim Wooten, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
A program reminder, later this evening at the time when Nightline is normally seen, Ted Koppel will host an ABC News town meeting on the lessons of the Thomas nomination. After the vote last night, Judge Thomas called on the country to put the debate behind and go forward. Anita Hill said she believes the issue of sexual harassment is now part of a dialogue. I hope, she said, that none of this will deter others from coming forward, which is exactly what concerns millions of women across the country today. Here's ABC's Judy Muller.
Many of the women angry over the Senate confirmation of Clarence Thomas are also angry about the way some senators attack the character of Anita Hill. And some of those supporters of Hill are worried as well.
If this could happen to Anita Hill, who amongst us is secure? I think many women identified with her, not only in believing her charges, but in seeing her pilloried.
Even those who had doubts about the truth of her charges are worried about the message the Senate decision sent to victims of sexual harassment.
I think if someone really needs their job and is trying to get ahead, that they probably will withdraw and not say anything, and it'll still be that silence that's been there for years.
A number of women we spoke with expressed concern that Hill's experience was a step back for the women's movement and showed that even the most confident of women dare not speak out. And yet others said that Hill's speaking out was in fact a step forward.
Anything you can get out in the light is a step forward. It's just we step 2 steps forward and 1 step back.
And now that the subject is out of the closet, some say, men may be more sensitive and women may be more outspoken.
I think that what women need to realize from this is that they shouldn't wait. If this happens to them, they should come forward immediately.
And still others say, even if women don't wait 10 years, as Anita Hill did, it may not make any difference.
I think everybody will talk about it a whole bunch, and memos will be circulated in every office. You should not sexually harass anybody in your office, and it'll still go on.
Few doubt it will still go on. The question is, will it be tolerated? Judy Muller, ABC News, Los Angeles.
When we come back, an ABC News investigation.
If you're looking to maintain regularity, look here. There's a drug-free way to do it, and Kellogg's All-Bran can be an important part, because a high-fiber diet, including Kellogg's All-Bran, can give you the fiber you need for drug-free regularity. See the recipe on the box for another way to enjoy Kellogg's All-Bran. All-Bran muffins. All that fiber, all that great taste.
To celebrate the 21st century a little early. Introducing the all-new 1992 Toyota Camry. We just couldn't leave well enough alone.
This is the sound of Unisom, the sound of sleep. With Unisom, you hit your pillow and fall asleep fast. Tonight, you can sleep more soundly with Unisom, America's #1 sleep aid.
Finally, after nearly a century, we came up with a formula with more pain relievers than Bengay. And it's on its way to stores right now from Bengay. New ultra-strength Bengay, the strongest Bengay ever.
We have the results tonight of an ABC News investigation focused on the Philippines. In the 5 years since Corazon Aquino became president, there have been 6 attempts to overthrow her. The official government position has been to negotiate with its opponents. But ABC News has found evidence that a senior member of the Aquino government may have tried to have one of Mrs. Aquino's most threatening opponents assassinated. Here's ABC's Bill Rediker.
During the attempt to overthrow Aquino in 1989, rebels within the Philippine military known as the Reformed Armed Forces Movement, or RAM, nearly succeeded. The group gave up only after American fighter jets intervened. But its leader, renegade Colonel Gringo Honasan, remained at large and continued to pose a major threat to the stability of the government. Now, in an exclusive interview with ABC News, this man, Jack Terrell, says he was hired to neutralize that threat. Terrell is an American mercenary who recruited, armed, and trained Contras in the secret war in Nicaragua. In May of 1990, he says he was contacted to begin organizing an assassination squad in the Philippines.
My role was to bring in a team of preferably Americans to kill or assassinate the leadership and the key members in the infrastructure of the Reformed Armed Forces Movement of the Philippines.
And who hired you?
I was hired by Manglapos, Raul Manglapos, the Secretary of Foreign Affairs, for the Philippine government.
Manglapos is one of President Aquino's most trusted advisors. He is also a candidate for Secretary General of the United Nations. Terrell tells us that he met 8 times with Manglapos at the Foreign Secretary's home in Manila. At one session, he says he made a secret tape recording to protect himself if Manglapos tried to make him a fall guy. In the taped conversation, the two discuss how to arrange a down payment to set up the assassination.
You don't have a bank account where you can... That would be very dangerous. That would be very dangerous. Okay. Well, all right.
See, what we don't want to leave is a paper trail.
See, well, that is what has taken time, because that kind of bulk is... But very early next week, you'll get it. Okay? I don't know, I told her maybe to put it in either a big envelope or maybe a She put small boxes, something like that.
We took the tape to Manglapus to get his reaction.
Let me say, well, you can turn that off. Let me say that Jack Turtle is someone I have met. That's as far as I will go. I've met him, I've talked to him, I have not plotted with him, and I don't go about looking for people, hiring them to kill other people.
But Terrell told us he had actually received a down payment of 850,000 pesos, or $30,000. And he told us he took pictures of it after picking it up from a Manglapus aide.
How do you explain the payment to Mr. Terrell of 850,000 pesos?
How do you know that there's been any payment? I don't understand.
We have a photograph of the money that he received from your offices, and it was photographed on the day next to the newspaper that he received it, which was in July of 1990.
Well, this man is an agent provocateur, and I don't know what he's up to, and but I assure you I would never agree to a plot of that type.
Why are you paying him $30,000?
Well, there might have been other reasons. This fellow was selling things to all kinds of people.
But during that same recorded session, Manglapus goes further and suggests a scheme to cover up the assassination by making it look like the work of the Communist New People's Army, or NPA. Manglapus.
How can we do something in order to back up an explanation that the NPA did it? Is it possible to throw any NPA corpse there or something? What I'm saying is it'll look like an ambush. It will look like it.
That is not I have no recollection of this conversation at all.
But you agree that's your voice and that's Jack's voice.
I can't be sure.
Did President Aquino have any knowledge of anything of this?
I don't involve the president in anything that people get me to listen to.
The assassination was never carried out. We asked Terrell why.
It was a business deal that went sour as far as I'm concerned, because I was not willing to double tap civilians.
What does that mean?
I wasn't willing to assassinate civilians.
Terrell says Manglapus suggested killing not only renegade Colonel Honasan, but others, including civilian political opponents of Aquino. Manglapus says it's all a big lie. Bill Redeker, ABC News, New York.
A spokesman for President Aquino has given us this statement today in response to this report. We doubt there was any such conspiracy involving Secretary Manglapus. Secretary Manglapus, she goes on, is known to be a peaceful and uncomplicated individual, not one to be involved in conspiracies. We'll be back in just a moment.
Risk. As hard as it is to live with, it's impossible to live without. At Merrill Lynch, we know that risk can be dealt with. It can be managed. It can even be turned to your advantage. To do that, you need a partner. A partner who understands it and can help you turn a world of risk into a world of opportunity. Merrill Lynch. We're bullish on the future.
Hello, Jill. Oh, how about dinner at our house?
What's wrong? Headache. I can imagine. Oh, I've got what you need. Motrin IB. Works great on headaches. My doctor said it's the same medicine as in prescription Motrin, but in non-prescription strength. One Motrin IB works as well as 2 regular Tylenol. Here.
Oh, no.
Don't look. Just keep this. Sounds like they'll need it, too.
Motrin IB, recommended by thousands of doctors.
And your neighbor.
At night, I soak my dentures. In the morning, I use toothpaste. At night, I soak.
Wake up. All you need is Dentu-Creme. In just 90 seconds, Dentu-Creme gets dentures nearly twice as clean. So why pay for 2 products? All you need is Dentu-Creme.
There was a time when aerodynamic design and agile handling would have been unheard of in a car this roomy. A time when a V8 that's more powerful and more efficient would have been simply inconceivable. But that was then, and this is now. The new Ford Crown Victoria. Have you ever wished the traditional could become the exceptional? Have you driven a Ford lately? If
If your doctor has recommended Metamucil and you like the results, but you don't like those glasses of thick liquid, change to FiberCon. Get the same fiber action in easy-to-swallow tablets. Get doctor-recommended FiberCon.
The Senate has failed again to override a presidential veto. Today it was having to do with a bill that would have extended unemployment benefits for those who have been out of work for more than 6 months. There were 65 votes in favor of the bill, a clear majority, but 2 votes short of the 2/3 needed to override President Bush's veto. Still on the economy, the latest ABC News Money Magazine poll shows consumer confidence lower than at any time since we began the poll 6 years ago. Not only do a majority of Americans think the national economy is in trouble, but for a record 11 weeks in a row, they rate their own personal finances negatively as well. On Wall Street today, on the other hand, investors concentrated on good earning results and ignored the bad. The Dow Jones Industrials hit a record high, up more than 20 points to close at 3061, and the trading was heavy. The Federal Trade Commission is cracking down on those liquid diets that promise quick and long-lasting weight loss. Trouble is, the FTT says they don't deliver. Today, the manufacturers of 3 widely used liquid diets agreed to stop using ads that the government says are unsubstantiated hype. Here's ABC's Bettina Gregory.
Talk show hostess Oprah Winfrey is one example of what the Federal Trade Commission is talking about. She lost 67 pounds on the OptiFast program in 3 months, but she gained much of it back. Today, 3 major liquid diet programs, OptiFast, MetaFast, and UltraFast, agreed to change ads the government said were deceptive. Claims like this: you will not experience a rebound phenomenon after you attain your goal.
They make it sound like long-term maintenance is easy, but it looks like for a majority of Americans, weight can be lost, but it's hard to maintain it for a significant amount of time, say 3 to 5 years.
The companies also agreed not to advertise their programs are safe, when in fact they must be supervised by doctors to minimize health risks. The products in today's decision are sold in clinics, not in stores, but the government is still investigating the claims of virtually all diet products sold over the counter. Bettina Gregory, ABC News, Washington.
Doctors have found new evidence that a very common type of bacteria may be a major factor in the development of stomach cancer. The bacteria are found in the blood of up to half the population over the age of 50. We'll have our final report in just a moment.
Do you have a cold?
Yes, I do. It feels like the ocean is in my head.
Here's 2 cold medicines. This relieves these 3 symptoms, this 9. Choose one.
9. I have all of those symptoms. Sinus pain, nasal congestion, and I have a scratchy throat.
Here's what you chose. Are you shocked?
Yeah, I am.
Would you try Dristan Cold? How do you feel?
The Dristan really works.
Dristan Cold relieves 9 tough cold symptoms. Dristan Cold, part of the Dristan family of products. Dristan, the face of relief today.
Luxurious new Chrysler LeBaron series, starting at under $14,000. The perfect balance between self-indulgence and common sense.
Now choose 770 powertrain or 336 bumper-to-bumper protection.
Do yourself proud, make you look beautiful, do it for yourself with Minwax and Wood.
Get beautiful color with Minwax Wood Finish and lasting protection with Minwax Polyurethane.
So do yourself proud with Minwax and Wood.
Ever notice how wonderfully plump plums are? How luscious and sweet? Just like these Sunsweet pitted prunes. Now maybe that's just a coincidence, but I don't think so. Only one prune tastes Sunsweet.
Tonight, many of the major players from the fight over Clarence Thomas together for an ABC News town meeting. From Capitol Hill, a process run amok. Can it be fixed? Tonight.
Finally tonight, a different kind of environmental story. We've all heard about communities that have moved against smokers in an attempt to provide a smoke-free environment. In Northern California, the people of Marin County are going a little farther than that. Some people there want an environment free of any artificial odors. ABC's Brian Rooney explains.
Ladies, have you had a chance to smell Egoist? Walk into any department store, and one of the first things you'll find is the perfume counter.
perfume and fragrances are a $3 billion a year business screaming for the attention of people who want to smell good. But Louise Frankel smells perfume and starts coughing and sneezing.
You walk into an elevator, you walk into a hotel lobby sometimes, drugstores, and then there are always these ladies hanging around Saks Fifth Avenue with little spray gadgets that they're ready to let loose on you.
Bloomingdale's in New York paid $75,000 to an allergic woman who was sprayed walking through their ground floor. All across the country, people who are hypersensitive to fragrances are trying to clear the air. In Marin County, California, some residents demanded fragrance-free seating at meetings of the Parks Commission.
There are problems for me with dry cleaning, with personal fragrances and shampoos, and the fabric softeners.
She says those kinds of things cause her to slur her speech and lose motor control of her arms and legs. Susan Malloy would like to be able to attend public meetings without being exposed to fragrances. So the Marin Parks Commission decided to accommodate people like her with separate seating.
People who are chemically sensitive are not as obvious, to say, as people in wheelchairs.
One doctor in San Francisco has treated at least 1,000 people who react to the chemicals in fragrances.
We don't really know what all those chemicals are because most of them are proprietary secrets of the industry. But some of those chemicals may have very low levels of toxicity.
The fragrance industry says its products are not toxic.
Most people want to continue to use fragrances and don't want to be unreasonably restricted in their use.
But to some people in Marin County, things smell best when they don't smell like anything at all. Brian Rooney, ABC News, San Francisco.
That's our report on World News Tonight. I'm Peter Jennings. Good night.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
Wednesday, it's radical subversive satire.
Television is responsible for the utter degradation of our society.
Don't say you haven't seen dinosaurs. Then hang out at the mall.
Sure beats working in a hardware store, huh, Kev?
It's boring, it's hard work, and it's no fun, okay?
Whoever said a job is supposed to be fun?
The Wonder Years, Wednesday.
My customers keep telling me, Tony, you gotta try Hardee's new subs. They're even better than yours. We'll see. Give me your best sub.
Okay, start with a nice sub roll. Add Swiss, roast beef, turkey, and ham, fresh tomatoes, onions, and lettuce.
Right now, try one of Hardee's new subs and a Coke and get free fries. Get that at a sub shop.
Hey, Tony, great sub, huh? Oh, sorry, Tony.
Deli subs, now at Hardee's.
Tonight, it's funny adult satire.
Television is responsible for the utter degradation of our society.
Don't say you haven't seen dinosaurs. Then, check out the action at the mall.
Sure beats working in a hardware store, huh, Kev?
It's enough to make Kevin want to quit his old job.
So how was your day, honey? It's boring, it's hard work, and it's no fun, okay?
No fun? Whoever said a job is supposed to be fun?
On the Wonder Years,